Well, hello. How are you? It's been a while. So I'm actually doing a witchy video this time, not just an update. Yay! Let's see. What are we gonna talk about today? The title of the video probably already told you. Probably. What we are going to talk about though is my sort of 2017 in review. When it comes to my witchcraft, paganism, tarot, all of this stuff. So let's get started. First of all, let me say, I have been into some form of witchcraft for about 12 years. I first started learning about witchcraft when I was a teenager, like high schoolish. And I was interested, but had no idea where to go with it. And I was a Christian at the time, and I felt like the two didn't really go together, but I felt like there was an inkling that they could, and that maybe witchcraft was not so bad. But I didn't pursue anything then until about 2005, somewhere in there. And I was taking college classes, and I met a girl, became friends with her, really liked her. She and I were a lot alike. We actually shared the same birthday, but 10 years apart. She was 10 years older than me. And she was a Wiccan. And so I started learning from her, and that's when I finally really dove into it and bought a lot of books, bought my first 2 tarot decks, bought, incense and candles and set up an altar and, all the little things that you do. And I followed Wicca for a while, learned a lot, and then I kind of realized that Wicca wasn't really for me. I still use parts of Wicca. There's parts of it that appeal to me, but there's some parts that don't. I'm not a fan of making things really complicated and a whole bunch of steps and rituals with so many steps and always calling, casting a circle and stuff. I do cast a circle at times, but I do it sitting still. And visualizing the circle. And I don't always call on a god and a goddess. Sometimes I do. But for a very long time, I never felt a pull to any gods, only to goddesses. 1 second, I'm gonna put my computer in sleep mode because I just realized that computer motor is really loud. Hang on. Sorry, I didn't think about doing that ahead of time. My bad. Still getting used to all this sometimes, and a little bit out of the groove right now too. So, that's actually a big reason why I decided Wicca wasn't for me, is because I just could not find any male gods I connected to. I had plenty of female gods I connected to. Nyx, Bast, Aphrodite, I forget who all, but a lot. There were a lot of female goddesses I was working. Persephone. Yeah. So a lot of female goddesses, but I couldn't find any male gods that I connected with at all. And so I felt like I wasn't really doing Wicca justice, first of all, because it very much, there's a focus on that duality and that balance of male and female. That's why you call a god and goddess. So I just kind of left it for a while, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing with myself. And I'd kind of go back and forth here and there. Sometimes I'd have a little altar set up. I acquired other things over the years. My crescent moon necklace and my Bast necklace here. Quite a few Bast things actually. And then probably maybe towards the end of 2016, or a little earlier, or a little later. My memory's rough. It probably was in 2016. I started kind of getting back to my witchcraft, and I started really realizing that I didn't have to follow anyone's path. I didn't have to follow Wicca. I could make my own path, and so that's what I started doing. And 2017 was the year that really brought me back, and that's one of the things I'm so thankful for. It brought me back to a lot of things. I got out my tarot decks for the first time in years. I bought new tarot decks. I explored oracle cards, and I love them. I have 3 oracle decks right now. Let's see, what else? I really focused on self-development and trying to find myself. Am I there yet? Hell no. It's a lengthy process. But I feel like I have evolved so much in 2017. I had a hard year. I had a very, very hard year. If you assigned a tarot card to represent my year, it would most definitely be the Tower. Yeah, definitely the Tower. It was just a really hard year between medical issues, financial issues caused by the medical issues, having to finally admit that I'm disabled and can't work any longer. 2016 was also a hard year, mind you. It just wasn't Tower. It was, let's see, what would 2016 have been? I don't know. I don't really see any of the tarot cards as being negative. Even the Tower, everything's falling for a reason. I don't know what 2016 would have been. It was just a really hard year. It was full of a lot of stress, mainly due to work and then my medical issues and how those two opposed each other and caused a lot of problems. So that was 2016. 2017 was I was no longer at work, dealing with the financial repercussions of going on short-term and then long-term disability, filing for Social Security disability, which I have appealed twice. I don't know. My next step is a trial, actually, and my attorney is estimating, based on the backup of cases here in Florida, that it's going to be about 1.5 years before I actually get my trial. So last year was just really hard. It was definitely a Tower year. This year, I feel, is the rebuilding from the Tower of 2017. I have a lot of words for this year. I have recovery is a word I chose for this year because it's recovering from all of that. Rebuilding from all of that. Yeah. That's probably the biggest word for 2018 for me. But anyway, despite all of that hardship in 2017, I made it through. And I don't think I would have made it through had I not really rediscovered my craft and my spirituality, and also found some good, groups of like-minded people, like on Facebook and such, Instagram, and then there's an app on the phone called Amino that has various groups, like social groups, and I'm in a couple of witchcraft, pagan related groups on there too. So I have found some people, like-minded people. I focused really heavily on self-development, like I said, and that is what really got me through the year. In addition to my support network, my husband, my cats, and my mom are my support network. So between those and my evolution of my spirituality, that's how I made it through 2017. And it wasn't easy, but I did my best. I am quite proud of myself, to be honest, because I stayed strong as best as I could. I had my weak moments. I had my breakdown moments, of course, and I would talk to my husband or my mom. I stayed positive as much as I could, looking forward to the future, knowing that this is not going to continue forever. This is going to end. Things are going to get better. So holding on to that hope, like the star card, that's what it makes me think of. So while everything around me was the tower, I was trying to be the star. Just looking for that hope and reaching for it and holding on to it as tight as I could, because otherwise I wouldn't have made it. So it was a trying year, but in terms of my spirituality and personal growth, it was a damn good year, because I learned so much about myself. I grew so much. I feel like the person I was January 7th, 2017 compared to January 2018, I feel like there's a fairly big difference. So yeah, I made it. You know, less difficult things. I also got back to my tarot, like I said. Got out my old decks. My first tarot deck was the Mystic Dreamer, and my second one was the Gothic Tarot, because I'm a goth girl at heart. And so I got those back out again, and then really started getting into tarot to the point that I bought more decks. So I have 4 tarot decks now, and I have 3 oracle decks now. And I'm also glad I got into oracle decks, because I really enjoy them. I like to use the 2 together. Sometimes I use them separate, but I really like using the 2 together a lot. Where I'll pull like 3 tarot cards and 1 oracle card, and like interpret it all together. So that's been a lot of fun, getting back into that. I have my altar I've shown you guys. It's already changed a little since my last altar tour, or quite a bit actually. It's half the size now. You can see it here. I have lots of incense going right now. This, can you see this one? You can't really see it. See the dragon right here? Okay. He is burning white sage incense. My little round burner right here is burning sandalwood, and my bast burner way over here is burning French vanilla. And this candle, which is in a glass, mind you, that's a glass from a cabinet in the kitchen. It's also vanilla scented. So I recently got some vanilla candles and red. They're red, but they're apple scented candles, just at like Walgreens while I was there the other day getting some stuff. You know, they're pretty cheap, like $3 a package, and it's got 6. This is what it looks like. This is the vanilla ones. They're just votive candles. Anyway. Yeah. Oh, I got more crystals this year, or well, 2017 also. Because I didn't have my crystals. I had lost them. When I moved from Oklahoma in 2013, the summer of 2013 is when I moved. We were getting help from family to move, and we had no money. We were both unemployed. We'd lost our jobs. That was a bad year too. That was also a bad year. I'm waiting for some good years. Hopefully 2018 will be one. But anyway, so we had a family member who had just like a trailer to pull behind their SUV, so it wasn't huge. That's what we moved in, so we were really limited on what we could bring. Like, we were able to bring our 2 computer desks, which are very important to us because of our computers, but pretty much none of the other furniture. Like for bedroom furniture, all we brought was, you know, like the bed frame, which is all we had anyway. We didn't have like a headboard or anything. And then we brought the chest of drawers, like 5 drawer. It's a 5 drawer, yeah. It's a tall chest of drawers. We couldn't bring the dresser. We couldn't bring the nightstands. We had a lot of stuff in boxes that we just had to leave behind in storage, and a lot of that included my altar supplies. I did have an altar set up at that time. I wasn't really heavily into my spirituality at the time. It was that kind of transition period where I was just kind of drifting along, not really knowing what to do. And because I couldn't find anything that fit me. And then, so we actually left so many of my supplies. I had some herbs. I had about 10 different essential oils. I had a pretty decent crystal collection, and we left all of those behind. my athame. But honestly, I feel like that was for the better, because I almost feel like that stuff had some negative energy surrounding it, because I was going through a really bad depression then too. And yeah, I could probably cleanse them, but I didn't. So it basically allowed me to get new stuff. So all the crystals you've seen on this channel in my various videos are all stuff I've acquired in the last 2 years. Really probably all in the last year, but just in case I'm gonna say last 2 years. Yeah, I have 3 essential oils now that I've bought. No, 4. I have Lang Lang, lavender, peppermint, and a blend called Zen. The peppermint I bought not for magical purposes, but because I was desperate with my migraines, and I've read many things that say peppermint oil, like on your temples or above your ear, is good for headaches. I've tried it for my migraines. It doesn't really do anything. I wish it did, but it doesn't. But it's good to use for some magical purposes too, so I do have it for that. But yeah, so I've had to replace a lot of things. I also had to really ask myself, what things do I truly think I need? Because when I first started getting altar supplies, it was based on that kind of general, you know, you have a god and goddess symbol, you have a chalice, you have an athame, you have a wand, you have a cauldron, you have like all these things that you have to have. A representation for each of the elements. And I realized that that doesn't fit me so well. I do like to have a representation of all the elements. But I have a little soapstone cauldron back there that to me is kind of it. That's my representation of water. Candles are obviously fire, incense is air, and all the crystals are earth. So I do have representations. I don't bother putting them in their, you know, northeast, southwest spots, but I do have them because I do work with the elements. But I really had to, when it came to trying to resupply my altar, I would tell people for a while, I would use the excuse of why I wasn't practicing because I'd lost my supplies in the move. But that really wasn't it. It was really because I was still in that transition period where I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted on my altar. I didn't know what felt right to me. So that's what this last year has really done. My beliefs have evolved. They're still evolving. They'll probably still change some. I mean, I'm only 36. I'm not set in stone yet. I can change my mind many, many times based on what feels right. So anyway, that was my 2017. It was a big year in terms of my craft and my spiritual growth. So leave me some comments below. Let me know what 2017 was for you. And if you're familiar enough with tarot that you could kind of equate a tarot card to your year, tell me. I'd love to know how it was for you. So thank you so much for joining me. I will be doing 2 more videos at least this month for the ABCs of Paganism. I'm going to be doing A and B this month. A, I'm going to talk about Anubis. And for B, I am going to talk about my books, my book collection. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already and click that little bell so you get notified when I post. I know I don't have a regular upload schedule right now. I'm hoping, as things are getting better at the first part of this year, that I will be able to have a more regular schedule again. So thank you again for joining me. Take care of yourselves. I love you all. I am Sage, in case you forgot my magic name. I love the name. Sage Serenity Silver. Maybe one day I'll talk about why I chose all those. Maybe when we get to the M's of ABCs of Paganism, I'll do magic name. Alright, take care of yourselves. Bye.